Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Sizzle. And I appreciate everybody that's come by to see the video and spend their time with me this evening. Wow, what a week we've had. Trump had a rally tonight at U.S. Steel, and he put out a lot of truths about what's going on with China. And he also had Elon Musk in the office, just moving too fast for these creepos to keep up with him. And while you all are getting in the studio, I am going to be playing some videos we can all enjoy while people get ready to discuss the events of the day.
Say China. 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 You go over to China. 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 You take China.
China.
China. I love them. China. 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 I have to. China. Because I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make a deal. Please, please, sir, make a deal. I'll do.
I wouldn't even be doing this. I could get some beautiful places, the gorgeous ocean, the Mediterranean.
Look, they're all pointing.
The Atlantic, maybe the Pacific.
Yeah, someone's on top of the roof. Look. There he is right there. Right there, you see him? He's laying down. You see him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
And Scott, I'm here with you fighting like hell to get a Senate.
What's happening? Yeah, look. There he is.
Because we have millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people. Criminals. We have criminals. We have drug dealers. We have people that should not be here.
On the roof.
It's much tougher than it happens.
You went quad on the roof for that.
And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Move his spear. Hold. When you're ready. On you. Ready. Move. Up. Move. Go.
Hawkeye's here.
Hawkeye's here. Move it to the spear.
Spear, get ready. Spear, get ready.
We ready? Are we good? Shooters down. Are we good to move?
We're
Let's move. Let's move.
We're clear.
Let me get my shoes.
Got you, sir. I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes, sir.
Hold that in your head, it's bloody.
So we got to move to the bus. Let me get my shoes.
Okay, let's shoot down. Let's shoot.
Watch out.
Wait.
Storm zone.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about.
And they have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
And he's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
Now think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give President tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined.
Now the gloves are off.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists.
I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and HE in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. The deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn, and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things. I would say treason. Our country. I've been looking at them for a long time. He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies. Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will take care of it.
Hi, folks. Thanks for joining me tonight. I hope you all are doing well. As we go through this historic time, as we see how our president and our allies and our military attempt to restore our democratic republic and maintain civil order and a level of comity among the people, at the same time destroy a dangerous animal. So I hope everyone's doing good. Let me see who else come in to see me tonight. We got a lot of people. Todd, nice to see you. Lucy. Oh, Lucky, yeah. Angel. Common Sense. Kathy, Debbie, Gloria, Robin. Angel, nice to see you. Kicking Bird, Miss Mendersu. I said hi to Kathy, didn't I? Yeah. William, nice to see you, William. All right, Benjamin's here. Let's see. Oh, Darla, nice to see you, Darla. Television shows, Colette. Sissy's made it in the house. All right. Let's see. Wayne's here. I know I got a thumbs up. You all, please remember to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you don't like it. Hi, Bambi. Helps the video get around. Rebecca's here. Marie's here. Ronald's here. Jackie. All right, folks. Yeah. Thumbs ups help the video get around. I don't mean to keep putting this in front of your face, but I tell you, these people are going into another ozone. I think their brains are shorting out. They're kind of like giggling schizophrenics now. I guess chemically and emotionally, you can only keep up this kind of spittle and drooling and whatever they've been doing for years. Now they're just turning into giggling lunatics over nonsense. Hi, Sparky. How you doing? So, yeah, their newest thing, I'll go over it with you. I talked about it a little bit the other night, where they're calling Trump a chicken. And what a bunch of fools. I mean, here's a man who has said many times, all I got to do is not run for president, say I'm out, and all the lawsuits, all the criminal charges will stop. He even got shot and is still forging ahead, meeting his commitment to his country, breaking the iron headlock that foreign nations have had on our freedom and prosperity for decades and decades and decades, over 100 years. And they call him a chicken. And they laugh at the silliest, dopiest things. This is something I had for Memorial Day the other day. But it's good to put up any time. Kind of American worth fighting for. Yes, unknown. I hope you get both these snippets and put them in your on your meta page to rib these wild-eyed fanatics, even though most of them are dribbling over to Blue Sky, where people go, the liberals go to cry. Blue Sky. The echo, the consummate echo chamber of babbling schizophrenic gigglers. So what are they giggling about now? Dopey stuff like this. Let's go taco. Now, how many thumbs up they get? 12 thumbs up, 327 thumbs. That's supposed to be something anti-Trump. What does it mean? It means Trump always chickens out. That's their new bibbling, babbling nonsense on Midas Trash Network. Trump always chickens out because he lowered the tariffs. On the one hand, they scream, the tariffs are insane. They're destroying the economy. They're a tax on regular people. Blah, 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 blah. He says, well, I'm lowering them. Oh, he always chickens out. You're such a big chicken. And I mean, there were hundreds of comments of, laughing faces and this stuff doesn't even make sense. And I put a comment, there's like a bunch of schizophrenics laughing at some innocuous, like a pebble in the road or see a piece of gum somewhere in a bush. I mean, they're losing their damn minds. And Trump's the one making them lose their minds. It's glorious. Here's these were just put up today. Some other USAIDS funded MAGA. Trump chickens out on tariffs. Art of the deal. They must have had, I am not kidding you, 800 comments. Ha ha ha, that's so funny. Oh yeah, Trump is such a big chicken. Ha ha ha. Yeah, blue cry. I saw who said that? Benjamin say, yeah, like blue cry. Hi, flannel cheese. How you doing? Yeah, Midas Touch is owned and operated by MSDNC. I'm sure it is. Well, I heard a rumor that Mark Garagos, the attorney P. Doo-Doo's attorney, P. Poo-Poo, his attorney, during this disgusting case he's going through. And you know what? That leads me to think of something. I left it in Trump's background up. Then I did beat them as small as the dust of the earth. I did stamp them as the mire of the street, and did spread them abroad. I like that. But anyway, Trump had this on his True Social. He wrong. Newly revealed FBI document. See, I left Donald Trump on there, so you see it's actually Donald Trump's post. Newly revealed FBI document from 2019 shows Nellie Orr lied to Congress about the Steele dossier. You all are my witnesses. Hi, Pappy Two Bears. Hi, Debbie. You all are my witnesses. Trump put this post out last night as I was wrapping up my show, or had just wrapped it up, or was 10 minutes into wrapping it up. Did I not say that I heard through the grapevine that Nellie Orr was singing like a bird and spilling the beans and telling the Bongino Patel team, how they could find a secret room in the computer system where they hid all their dirty laundry. I said Nellie Orr was singing like a bird, what I heard. Then Trump posts this last night. But anyway, so I figured, wow, 5 minutes talking about Nellie Orr, right? Now, it isn't 5 minutes talking about Nellie Orr. It's interesting what they're saying. We know she's on the hot seat along with her husband, Bruce. But watch what the rest of the video talks about. The other half of the video, you know, with Trump's wherewithal, they can edit non-germane things out of a video, right? Why would you leave stuff in there that's not germane? Anyway, let me play it.
Legal analyst Greg Jarrett. Am I right? Is it page 53? Because I went through your book tonight.
Yeah, it is. You know, Sean, and thanks for saying that.
How long ago did you write that? How many years ago? How many years ago?
6 years ago. 6 years ago, yeah. And, you know, you saw Jake Tapper there. What is so tragic, really, in journalism is that those who got it wrong, the New York Times, the Washington Post, they won Pulitzer Prizes. Those of us who got it right were treated with scorn. But look, these declassified FBI documents showing that Nellie Orr gave false testimony, it actually, you're right, page 53, matches word for word what I wrote 6 years ago in the book Witch Hunt. I detailed all of her false statements. She, for example, denied sharing her dossier research with anybody at the DOJ. But guess what? 339 pages of emails show she sent it to at least 3 prosecutors there. Those same emails prove that she knew of the DOJ's parallel investigation of Trump, even though she testified otherwise. So the fact that these new FBI documents were hidden for so long until now, and that Orr was never prosecuted for lying to Congress, I think that underscores, Sean, how corrupt the Russia hoax was. She helped research phony dossiers on Trump. Then she meets secretly with Christopher Steele at the Mayflower Hotel, 9 a.m. July 30th, 2016. And the very next day, Crossfire Hurricane is launched against Trump by James Comey's FBI. No legal basis, no credible evidence. It was crooked top to bottom. And Comey knew that collusion was a complete fiction from the outset. But he hated Trump so much, he was willing to abuse the law to take the president down. And you know, what is also tragic is that the people we entrust to enforce the law, they became the law breakers. None of them were ever charged or held accountable, Sean.
And Comey was warned in August of 2016 not to use that dossier that is not verified and it's political in nature, and he used it not for 9 months. He himself signed 3 of the 4 FISA warrants. But knowing what he knows now, years later, before Lindsey Graham said, oh, I wouldn't have done it. Oh, never mind, Mr. Higher Honor. Moving on. Turning to the ongoing trial of Sean Diddy Combs in New York City, a former personal assistant to Combs gave very graphic testimony today in court, claiming that he raped her, threw things at her, supplied her with drugs, and the latest in a...
See what I'm saying? Look how it just went right into the Diddy poo-poo trial. Why is that? Why did they keep that in there? Oh, well, you see, Mark Garagos is his attorney. Mark Garagos is involved in financing Midas Trash Network. Midas Trash Network is tied in with MSDNC. Put all this stuff together with the stuff that Greg Jarrett was talking about with Nellie Orr and James Comey and the Steele dossier and all. Intricate webs, folks. Intricate webs. But I'll play it all out. But it's interesting that the President of the United States kept this in the post and did not edit it out. So it must be germane.
In a series of bizarre, very dark revelations in this trial, including testimony from artist Kid Cudi that Diddy firebombed his Porsche and unwrapped his family's Christmas presents. And while the testimony is disturbing, there are growing questions over whether any of the evidence presented so far proves the racketeering and sex trafficking charges that this trial is actually about. Greg, it is getting very salacious on a daily basis. Are they making the case for the charges that they brought here? That's the question.
Yeah, I do think prosecutors are making a fairly compelling case of sex trafficking by force and coercion, with Combs' ex-girlfriend as the victim turned star witness. But importantly, it's corroborated by many others who've testified. Today, as you point out, his assistant began weeping on the witness stand, testifying about how Combs raped her and repeatedly sexually assaulted her. I can't even get into details. It's too ugly and salacious. But, you know, testimony has also included arson, kidnapping, bribery, obstruction, blackmail. All of that is in support of racketeering conspiracy. So on the flip side, you always have to look at that. The defense admits their client may be sick and twisted, but they claim that Cassie Ventura was a willing participant in his so-called freak-offs. I got to tell you, that's hard to believe when you see, and the jury has seen, despicable video played in court of Combs beating and kicking and dragging her. And that kind of brutality demolishes the idea of consent. So the question becomes, is the monster a criminal under law? That's up to the jury.
Let's see how many celebrities and sports figures may be mentioned. We were told during jury selection that they were given a list of names of famous people. Let's see if those names come out. Greg Jarrett, thank you.
Ain't that something? Ain't that something how Mr. T slipped that in? Racketeering, corruption. Ha ha ha. Hi, this is Justin. How you doing? You hear racketeering, corruption. You hear all the names and all the intricate webs I talked about. The new Epsteinio, right? The new Epsteinio. So anyway, I have a little bit of bad news and a lot of bad news. Where is it? Here we go. Someone we're all familiar with, a celebrity, has passed away, Loretta Swit. She was Hot Lips Houlihan on MASH, a show many of you probably enjoyed along with me. Hi, Michelle. In the 1970s was played Hot Lips Houlihan in MASH. And she lived, I'm according to my math, to be 88 years old. So she had a good life. And just shows that time marches on. And now, as I've said, none of us know who is going to be around for this end game. And it will always be a continuing battle to defend ourselves and our country and our way of life. It will never end. It's a never-ending battle. But we are approaching a high tide for ourselves. And we don't know who will be there to see it. Oh, back when they had drive-ins, really, Angel. Yeah, I remember those. Very well. Hiding in the trunk. Cheapskates that we were. But anyway, really bad news is this young man right here. This is an interview he gave some months ago. But I have to sadly report that they found 3 more tumors. This young man, DJ, who President Trump honored, and no Democrats stood for or encouraged or thanked or showed any compassion for at all. And anyway, this is an interview he gave. And I'm going to play it. Tells you a young man's philosophy on life, and makes you understand why you should be grateful for what you have and where you are.
I was diagnosed with brain and spinal cancer. It's called anaplastic empedoma Hu grade 3. It's relapse and recurrent and metastatic size.
So have you had any surgeries for this?
Craziest thing is when we got there, everybody knew, they just didn't want to tell me. My face was exactly like this. He went like this. I went like this. I said, and anywho, it looks like this. Based off, if somebody makes me have a bad day, I'm still gonna have a good day. I don't care. There's a lot of kids in that hospital that have bald heads, and they didn't want that to happen. I'm gonna be honest, none of us asked to be here. But I remember from last year, I asked my dad if I could cut my hair. He said, why? I said, there's certain kids in that hospital that ain't got no hair, so I cut my hair off just to make them happy. I don't care if I have hair. That was pretty good. I was not expecting them to be there. It's like I'm just walking around and I just ran into them. That's just like you running into a brick wall. And a message for kids that got cancer: have faith, believe in God, listen to your parents.
So hopefully the doctors can help improve the quality of his life and once again fight off that cancer. Let's all pray for him and keep our fingers crossed that that's the case. It is sad. And also, I saw in the chat somebody mentioned this too, Bernard Carrick. We've all seen him on television. Not as of late, because I don't know what he passed away from, or a little more. But anyway, he was a New York Police Department commissioner on 9/11. He died at the age of 69. And as many of you know, he was hounded. He was prosecuted over, can't even tell you any details about it. But goes back to what I was saying, that none of us are guaranteed to see the end of the show, right? So, how little people take their own government seriously. How little people realize that this civilization we have, the American civilization, and you can fairly well call it that, is unique in world history. And we have to jealously protect it. But here's a person that could care less about who's running the country, has this blind dislike for Donald Trump, slanders and libels with the word lie, even though if you ask him about what did he lie about? They might punch you or spit on you or just simply walk away and curse you. But Joe was just fine with them.
How do you feel about them covering up Joe Biden, the media, and the White House?
Why does that bother you? Does it bother me that they covered him up? Wow, that's a good question because, we were in dire straits at the time, I feel, So Joe's a good man. He did a lot. He created an economy that was beautiful, and then within 100 days, it was demolished. You asked a really good question, actually.
shouldn't people be concerned
What,
about the media that gets put out?
what was so beautiful about that economy? What was so beautiful about it? The dollar has been devalued down to nothing. We had millions of people in this country didn't belong in this country getting benefits. They didn't start squawking about eggs until a week after Trump came in office. Grocery prices were awful. Rents were through the roof. Everything was through the roof. We were on the brink of collapse. But he said it was a beautiful economy. And he laughed when he said, why are you worried about Joe? He has no concern over who's pulling the strings and who is making decisions that can affect this country for years down the road.
To America, if they openly knew that Joe Biden was not well, yet they said that he was well for the rest of America to see and vote on.
Yeah.
Do you not feel offended that the media lied to people of the Democratic Party in the way they did?
You don't feel offended. Well, look at the other side. There's nothing but lies and lies and lies over lies. It's just an ad nauseum lies. So the Democrats tried to protect Joe. Yeah, okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, he's okay. He's okay with that. Well, they asked Trump, should Joe Biden be held accountable for Goofy Joe? The cover up with Goofy Joe. And he gave a very good answer. Let me see if this is the right video. I hate these black screen videos, but I'll play it anyway.
Do you think that Dr. Jill Biden should also have to come in and testify about what she did or didn't do?
Well, I hate the concept of it. It's the wife of a man who was going through a lot of problems, and everybody that dealt with him understood that. And I guess it came out during the debate loud and clear. That was the biggest signal of all. They have to do what's right. The country was there was a lot of dishonesty in the election, as you know, 2020. That's been now caught. People understand it. It was a rigged election. And when you go further out, when you see the auto pen, I think the auto pen is going to become one of the great scandals of all time, because you have somebody operating it or a number of people operating. Because I knew Joe Biden. Joe Biden wasn't in favor of opening up borders, letting 21 million people into this from prisons and mental institutions and gang members. He wasn't into that at all. And who signed these orders, proclamations, and all of the different things that he signed that set our country so far back, that was so bad for our country?
Yeah, he got it in there as a matter of fact now, cementing every chance he gets with the press, he's cementing the notion. The reality is that the election was stolen. And, he said, I don't like the idea of the wife. Okay? Because, where's her real power? Okay? She's got people elbowing her, and who knows what. But she's not the one to be excoriated. But she can help. Hi, Claude. How you doing? $21 million. Yeah. Well, we got a big win at SCOTUS. Much to the chagrin of Ketanji Jackson Brown, or Brown Jackson, or whatever her name is. And Sonia, the wise woman, Latino woman, Sotomayor, didn't agree. But they can move ahead with deportations of 500,000 plus from Venezuela, who are allowed in on some specious parole, supposedly given by Joe Biden, also signed by an auto pen. So here is, I like this clip because Stephen Miller, he'll get his shots in. You'll hear him mention 15 crazy communist judges. And he also mentions that Leo character that Trump put on blast yesterday for manipulating judicial nominations through the Federalist Society. But anyway, this reporter is desperately trying to interrupt, overtalk him, and act like she's credible. But she's really just throwing out the same histrionics and, those poor people that are getting deported nonsense. And she tries not to let him get a word in edgewise.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem posted a stunning allegation saying that an undocumented migrant sent a letter threatening to kill the president, promising to self-deport after the assassination. CNN reporting shows that investigators believe the migrant was set up. It was a victim of a setup. What is the administration going to do now? And this is an undocumented immigrant. I do want to note that. But this was someone who came forward, was a victim of a crime, and now law enforcement believes he was set up. Go ahead.
Well, I want to clarify what you mean, so we're talking about the same thing. Are you saying this immigrant was here illegally?
Yes, but I am, and that's why I said that. I clarified that.
You said undocumented, and I wasn't clear what that means. I'm assuming they have a fake ID. I'm assuming they have a fake Social Security number.
That's neither here nor there.
That's
getting away from the question, Stephen. I want this to be, and call me naive, a good faith discussion about what's happening right now.
But when we use language that's designed to obscure the truth, that's not good faith.
All right,
an illegal alien is an illegal alien. They're not an undocumented migrant.
Okay, that's fine. That's another discussion for another date.
I don't know the details of the assassination threat. All I can say, based on what you're telling me, is there's an illegal alien in our country who's making menacing threats. Regardless of the facts or circumstances, we don't want him here. We're going to get to the bottom of it, and I would gladly come back on when I have more information to share with you.
They were set up, just to be clear. But quickly,
so
where is the White House on habeas corpus?
The illegal alien was treated unfairly. Yes, I'm sure the illegal alien was treated very unfairly.
Where is the White House on?
Oh, this is a shorter clip. He went on to talk about that Leo guy that I mentioned earlier with the Federal Society messing around with judges, and that we had 15 crazy communist judges. But you see him corrected her on the language. He said you're using deceptive language. He wasn't an undocumented alien. He was an illegal alien. Hi, Claude. How you doing? Melinda, nice to see you. Sin. Stanton's here. Nice to see you. Brush is here. Ha ha. All right. So anyway, that was a big win. And I was going to see if I could print out Ketanji Brown Jackson Brown, whatever her name is, her dissent and parse it. But one, it was getting late. And two, it's so idiotic. Without a sense of humor, you can't really get through it. But I have a sense of humor. Hi, Araceli. So, whiskey, nice to see you. So I might do that because it's nothing but histrionics and not very little of it based in any law. It's prattle. It's prattle. It can't be called a legal document. You can't call prattle a legal document. But anyway, let's see. I think Trump had a real good day at the Oval Office. Is this where he gives him the key? I'm not sure. He had Elon standing there for a while. And I heard Elon had a black eye. And that was little X gave that to him. Now I can see that happening. That little terror waving around a toy robot or something oddball thing going on there. Club. But I tell you one thing. I know one person I've never seen with a black eye. Donald J. Trump. Okay? And if people want to think about that Black Eye Club. Maybe Trump's the one that's been giving them out. Ha 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 ha. Elon saying, well, I don't like the bill. It can't be big and beautiful. Pop. Straighten up, kid. Maybe when they catch him, when they catch the baddies, they give him Donald Trump comes up and gives them a black eye. And just to let them know what's going to coming, whether you like it or not. But anyway, let me see if this is when he gives, I don't know. Let me see. Let me play a clip and see what it is.
A little special something we have here.
Thank you.
A very special that I give to very special people. I have given it to some, but it goes to very special people, and I thought I'd give it to Elon as a presentation from our country.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elon.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you. This is a lot. The luck on this is amazing.
A large lot.
Yeah, so he got the key to what? The country, probably. And the left was trying to make hay out of this. You know, they were yesterday and the day before they were oh, it's a big rift between Elon Musk and Trump. Ha ha ha. They don't know what to say. Oh, they're together. They're just looting the country. Here's Chris Cuomo talking about this business of them laughing over this taco thing. And I don't like this report, but Citizen Free Press put it up and said that at least, well, I'm saying at least, but what they're saying is Cuomo is giving the media a hard time for treating Trump the way they are treating him. But yeah, I can see that. But he's putting up these memes. I put them up too myself. But he's doing it in a way where he doesn't call it out for it being nonsensical foolishness. Nothing funny about it at all. It's just idiotic. But anyway, let me go ahead and play him.
Social media is now full of AI videos and memes of Trump as a chicken or eating tacos. Is it funny? Or eating tacos. Is it funny? Yeah, sure, it's funny. But it's also just another cheap gotcha, and it's why he hates the media, and it's why a lot of people don't trust us the way they should, because it's obvious what you were doing there. You were just baiting them. And I actually believe that there is a metaphor in that. I actually think this is a demonstration of what's holding America back. Look, criticism is part of life. It's certainly part of politics. It's part of what I do on a regular basis, more than most, perhaps. However, as any spouse or parent or employer knows, it is better when criticism is constructive, right? But let's be honest. That doesn't work in the surreal world of party politics. They're all about the other side being worse. Negativity is a proxy for meaningful insight. All attack, all the time, on everything. And you know this.
Yeah, whatever. He said, oh, it shouldn't always be negative. But he said, is it funny? Yeah, it's funny. There's nothing funny about it. It's worse than somebody put in the comments, it's worse than a 5-year-old telling a joke. And you have to kind of laugh at something that's stupid from a 5-year-old. So, taco. Trump always crushes opponents. How about that? Trump always crushes opponents. Apropos. But what did he do at the steel conference or rally in Pittsburgh with the steel workers? Steel deal. Here he is. Raising the tariffs on steel from 25% to 50%. Remember, he met with the Prime Minister of Japan yesterday, right? Japan is going to be a major shareholder in U.S. Steel. U.S. Steel is going to remain in the U.S. and under U.S. control and ownership. And plus, he's raising the tariffs. He's doubling them. Some chicken.
Exclusions. And today I have a major announcement. And are you ready to hear this? This is on behalf of Scott, Secretary of Treasury, Howard Lutnick, Secretary of Commerce, and all of the great geniuses and people we have working, and they are smart, but I don't think you'd be a good steel worker, Scott. I'm sorry. We're going to have to put a little more muscle content into that guy. But he's great. He's great at what he does. We are going to be imposing a 25% increase. We're going to bring it from 25% to 50%, the tariffs on steel into the United States of America, which will even further secure the steel industry in the United States. Nobody's going to get around that. So we're bringing it up from 25%. We're doubling it to 50%. And that's a loophole. And by the way, I have to tell you, I believe that this group of people that just made these investments right now are very happy, because that means that nobody's going to be able to steal your industry. It's at 25%, they can sort of get over that fence. At 50%, they can no longer get over the fence. So congratulations to everybody and to you for making a great deal. You just made a better deal, right?
Yeah, what do you got to say about that, Libs? I should put that frothing at the mouth person up. Anyway, I've been waiting to see if Angela would pop in the chats. I haven't seen her. But I want to thank Angela for going by buy me a coffee last night and helping support the channel. And also Mike and big screen like a television star. But anyway, this is a totally viewer-supported channel. And I have a link for Buy Me a Coffee in the description if anybody wants to help out. And Gary helped out a couple of times this week. I haven't seen Gary either, but Jess and Bean and Wayne. So I do appreciate it. And on my Rumble channel, I have a link in the description. Anybody from Rumble wants to help an old man out. But anyway, so Trump shoves that goofball taco meme in their face and doubles the tariffs. Let me see. Oh, I'll get to this one in a second. It's about the CBO, but this is where Trump put up about China. China. They were cheating and he caught them. And in one of his truths, he put out, we don't have to rely on cheap steel from Shanghai. That was a direct poke in the eye to China. And on top of that, he put up this. 2 weeks ago, China was true. I saw videos from China Observer where people were actually rioting, okay, and getting frisky at factories because they're running out of their bowls of rice and their social credits. So the very high tariffs, I said, made it virtually impossible for China to trade into the United States marketplace, which is by far number one in the world. We went, in effect, cold turkey with them, with China, and it was devastating for them. Many factories closed. There was, to put it mildly, civil unrest. Very true. I remember one commentator talking about a Tiananmen Square 2. Younger people might not know about Tiananmen Square. Check it out. I saw what was happening and didn't like it. For them, not for us. I made a fast deal with China in order to save them from what I thought was going to be a very bad situation. And I didn't want to see that happen. Because of this deal, everything quickly stabilized and China got back to business as usual. Everybody was happy. That's the good news. The bad news is that China, perhaps not surprisingly to some, has totally violated its agreement with the U.S. So much for being Mr. Nice Guy. So that's why I have in my title, No More Mr. Nice Guy. Speaking of commies, China, is commie, but also we have infiltrated every agency, every branch, right up to the National Archives, the librarian for the country, making dopey moves, trying to help in Trump's prosecution, accusing him of things, a dopey librarian even. Well, the Congressional Budget Office is full of subversive, inspired and, quote, controlled Congressional Budget Office purposely gave us an extremely low level of growth, 1.8% over 10 years. That is laughable. How ridiculous and unpatriotic is that? They did the same thing to us in 2017. We doubled their numbers. The information they recently released is even more absurd and indefensible. I predict we will do 3, 4, or even 5 times the amount they purposefully, quote, allotted to us, 1.8%. And with just our minimum expected 3% growth, we will more than offset our tax cuts, which will, in actuality, cost us no money. So, keeping that in mind, and remember that the Fed chairman, what's his name, Powell, he's keeping the rates high. He's keeping the rates high, and of course he's getting a lot of pressure, as he should. Well, the federal, let's see what, I mean, he should be getting pressure, not keeping the rates high. He should be getting pressure. The economy is doing great. Remember that 1.8% nonsense that this Democrat-controlled CBO put out. Trump, during his speech tonight, his rally, brought up the points of the big, beautiful bill. You want to talk about putting people in a hot seat. These Democrats are going to have to deal with voting against no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, on and on. Let's say I've got several clips from Trump. And I want to make sure I get the right one. I'm looking at the screen to see if they'll give me a hint as to which one. It's a short clip. There it is. Here. It's hard to spot this stuff in there. That's how big they are in the studio. Little tiny things, and you've got to expand them. But anyway, be a Democrat and vote against what Trump's telling you now, because people are going to feel results from this bill immediately. It's going to change people's lives financially.
House member voted to impose the largest tax hike in history. The Democrats are voting for the largest, highest tax hike in history. I've never heard of it before. Meanwhile, our one big, beautiful bill will keep income taxes at the current rates and deliver no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our seniors.
Yeah, vote against that and watch what happens to you. I want to play this clip where Trump gives everybody a reminder of the last administration. Because there's a guy on CNBC that Trump played a clip from him. I think I have that. About how fast this economy is taking off. And we can't let people remember or forget. We can't let them forget what things were like under the cabal that was pretending Joe was president. And Trump reminds them here, don't forget what they did to us. Okay? And he goes through the migrant situation and the crappy economy.
It was just in time. It was just in time. They were closing up as fast as you can count. In a few short years, domestic steel production surged by more than 10 million tons. Imports from your foreign competitors dropped by 24% almost immediately. And more than $15 billion of investment poured into American steel throughout the United States, all because you had a president who stood up for our steel workers and put America first. I'm very proud of that one. Stood up for everyone else, too. But then came 4 calamitous years of a president who obviously wasn't doing the job. I'm trying to be nice, so I have to be nice. But what he did to this country is a disgrace. Between the borders, millions and millions of people pouring through our borders from all countries all over the world. They came from the jails of the Congo. They came from all over South America, prisons, gangs, drug dealers, drug merchants. They came from mental institutions, the mentally insane. They were pouring into our country by the millions. They allowed. We're moving them out faster. We're bringing them back to where they came from. We're having a lot of problems with the liberal judges in courts, the radical left crazy judges that, they come in without courts. They pour into our country totally unvetted and unchecked. Nobody checked them. Nobody had any idea who they were. 11,888 of them were murderers. 50% of those over 11,000 people that were murderers, 50% murdered more than one person. And these people were allowed to come into our country by the Democrats, and you can never forget what they've done. And it's we've beaten inflation. Look at what we've done. Look at the numbers that came out. The prosperity, everything is good. First time ever, right track, wrong track. We're on a right track. First time in 28 years. But they allowed that to happen. I built almost 700 miles of wall. If we didn't have the wall, we could have never done what we did. Over 700 miles, but still they came because they didn't want to finish. They didn't want to close up any gap, the gaps that we had to keep so that we could get our equipment out, so we could get through. They didn't want to put up the final stages. It would have taken 3 weeks to put up the final stages. They said, no, we don't want the wall built. And I thought they were kidding, but they weren't. They wanted open borders, and what they let into our country can never be forgotten. The last administration granted tens of thousands of job-killing tariff exemptions.
Over 50% of them committed 2 or more murders. Unbelievable. How is history going to look at that? Here's a clip of Trump giving a little bit of advice to Macron. Because Elon Musk made a comment about when somebody asked him about his eyeball, he said, I wasn't in France I didn't go to France. He was talking about Macron getting his shop smacked by his wife. But anyway, they asked Trump about Macron.
This week, there was a video on board a plane that showed the First Lady of France slapping her husband, Emmanuel Macron. Do you have any world leader to world leader marital advice for the Macrons?
Make sure the door remains closed.
Make sure the door remains closed. Oh, here's Joe. He decided to come out and give a little, I guess he's putting out a barb about how good he's doing and how he could have beat everybody, but they wouldn't let him run. I don't know. Some people are taking it as he's admitting that he can't think and he can't talk or walk. But anyway, here's Joe.
And there's also been a lot of discussion recently about your mental and physical capabilities while you were in office.
You can see that. I'm mentally incompetent and I can't walk and I can beat the hell out of both of them.
Do you want to reply to any of those reports and also to the fact that there are some Democrats who are now questioning whether you should have run for re-election in the first place?
Why didn't they run against me then? Because I'd have beaten them.
Do you have any regrets?
He's still doing the whispering thing. But anyway, well, I don't know what to make of that clip. I don't know. I don't care. I don't know and don't care. Here's, what's his name? Canadian guy, Prime Minister. What's his, I don't know. But anyway, he's basically, after Trump said, look, if you want to be part of the Golden Dome, it's going to cost you $61 billion. If you want to be the 51st state, our cherished 51st state is free. So anyway, I guess this is his response.
The global economy is fundamentally different today than it was yesterday. That Canada has relied on since the end of the Second World War, a system that, while not perfect, has helped to deliver prosperity for our country for decades, is over. Our old relationship of steadily deepening integration with the United States is over. The 80-year period when the United States embraced the mantle of global economic leadership, when it forged alliances rooted in trust and mutual respect, and championed the free and open exchange of goods and services, is over. Well, this is a tragedy. It is also the new reality. We must respond with both purpose and force. We are a free, sovereign, and ambitious country. We are masters in our own home.
Yeah, unless you want to set up some bouncy houses for kids while you're having a peaceful protest and get your bank accounts freeze, or you get quarantined because you won't take a jabber-do, on and on. Yeah, you guys are great. But anyway, here's some more clips from Trump at his rally tonight. Let me see. What's the topic here? Let's see. I'll go ahead and play it, and then we'll talk about what he says. Let's see. Oh, I'm having trouble with my camera. Whoa, wait a second. There we go.
Remember, the entire world is watching us today. I'm making a speech, and I have millions and millions. Look at all the fake news back there. Look at that. That's a lot of fake news, come to think of it. Now, they've been pretty good to us here. They've, gave us a reasonably accurate display. But all over the world, look at that. All over the world, they're watching your local region and how well it's doing and how well it's going to do. For generations, the workers of this region have always been there for our country when we needed you most. You built this country from Pittsburgh to Pottstown, from Bethlehem to Hopewell, and from Washington County to right here in Western Mifflin. The foundries and blast furnaces of Pennsylvania have smashed foreign armies, strengthened the hulls of the world's greatest navy, raised up majestic cities, won 2 world wars, and made America into the richest, strongest, and most powerful country on the face of the earth. And it's suffered greatly over the last 4 years, but we're going to get it back, and we're going to get it back fast. It's almost back already. It suffered, though. It suffered. I'm not going to make any excuses. It suffered with incompetent, radical left lunatics. But under than ever before, and that's why I want to thank you very much. And thank you, Prime Minister, and thank everybody. They all knew what was happening here. With the help of patriots like you, we're going to produce our own metal, unleash our own energy, secure our own future, build our country, control our destiny, and we are once again going to put Pennsylvania steel into the backbone of America like never.
There you go. Yeah, this is where he said that the world is watching. Where we heard that term before. The world is watching. And he did give he called them fake news, but he gave a little bit of a olive branch to them. He said they haven't been doing that bad. They've been treating us pretty good. Is that part of truth and reconciliation? And he pointed at all the television cameras. Look, the world is watching. So we'll see if that continues. And I tell you, the press conference, here's where Trump plays that complimentary video from CNBC of all places. And like I'm saying, this is, to me, signs that the Truth and Reconciliation Act is being eased into the public conscience. You just can't have radical news agencies all of a sudden change their tune overnight. But they got to change their tune. And compare how the behavior of the reporters in the Oval Office to the days of creeps and snotty individuals like Jim Acosta being insulting and petty and interrupting all the time. The president has respect. The Oval Office is given respect. And Trump knows that most of them won't report the good things that was said about him on CNBC, so he plays it right in front of their faces.
I think what I'll do, if you don't mind, numbers have just come out which are rather extraordinary, and I thought I'd play a tape of one of the people who I've respected over the years, from Joe Kiernan and Rick Santelli. This just came out, and we'll just play that for a second.
Personal income is up 0.8%. That is almost triple the expectations. I'll tell you, the income numbers, really, for the first 4 months of the year, they're stellar. They're really stellar. I mean, I could go back and look at the first 4 months of many different years. Really very strong numbers, and you're right. This administration is criticized for just about everything under the sun. I've never, ever in my lifetime had glimpses into the politics of an administration in the form of transparency like this one. Why don't we be, give credit where credit is due. Income really shooting up.
Rick, I also thought everybody was going to get one last order of imports that were going to be tariffed, and they were loading up on things. How the hell did they already fix the trade? That's crazy. So there wasn't a lot of front loading of things that they needed before the tariffs hit?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it really does call into question some of the conventional wisdoms. And, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next month when we get this number, or we see some of the other numbers like current account, see how they fared. Because I don't know, I've been watching these numbers a long time. I don't think I've ever seen the trade deficit cut in half in 1 month.
Not bad. Right? Not bad.
Come on, guys.
I see Howard and Scott are here, so it's great. You guys want to stand over here? You might as well. You're the ones that help produce those numbers, and it'll only get better. The tariffs are so important, and that's why we were so happy with the decision yesterday.
So, yeah, you see the big difference. They're applauding the president. He's made tremendous strides, tremendous accomplishments in 4 months. And it's a completely different atmosphere than when Americans were watching press conferences. Like I said, you had to deal with garbage. And like Jim Acosta. And what's this latest one? And thank you for putting the name of Carney. That was his name. I noticed that in the chats. But what's her name? I can't remember her name. She's from CNN, and she's always putting out some kind of out of there. They've got a new rotation system. You know, yeah, you're no big shot. You get treated just like everybody else. So when CNN and NPR or AP is out of the rotation, you don't have that. I'll call it communist influences. But here's another clip from that same CNBC broadcast. He's talking about personal income. They were talking about how the trade deficit was cut in half in just 4 months. Just something amazing that's happening. So anyway, I'll go ahead, but see the icon there, CNBC.
The last number is, of course, a very important number to this administration. This is the trade balance, which is a deficit, expecting minus 143 billion. Wow, it comes in much, much smaller, minus 87 billion. And now this follows a 163 that gets converted to 162 billion with a minus sign, the worst since record-keeping 1989. Then we cut it in half to 87.6. 87.6 would be the lightest, and I have to really go back. 87. Number of 23, SEP of 23, and this really does underscore how the movement of goods and services has really changed due to a variety of tariff-related issues.
Yeah, so things are looking very, very good. Very good. One of the interesting parts about this clip, Nippon investing $14 billion in U.S. steel. Now, you know, after that meeting with Japan, that feathers were smoothed out, agreements were made about that tariff up to 50% on steel. And the health and strength of U.S. steel, to where Nippon brings another $14 billion to the table. Confidence, that's what makes economies hum along. When people are not afraid they're going to get evicted or get the lights cut off or they're going to lose their job. If people are confident and happy, they're productive, they spend more, get a second car, whatever. And before you know it, your economy is booming. But anyway, here's another clip from Trump's rally.
And by the way, your local union, I won't talk about your national union because I don't think he knows what the hell he's talking about. But your local union, I want to tell you, is so unbelievable. They've been great. I have to tell you that. This is an incredible deal for American steelworkers, and it includes vital protections to ensure that all steelworkers will keep their jobs and all facilities in the United States will remain open and thriving. U.S. Steel will maintain.
I don't want to fight with those guys. They look pretty. I'll never fight them. U.S. Steel will maintain all of its current.
What he mentioned here at the beginning was important. These national unions at a national level. Trump has very little problem with local unions, local union bosses. It's when you get to the national level, that's where you have people that are being influenced or outright on the take for foreign interests. Okay, people get threatened, they get bribed, they get coerced, or they think it's a swamp until they get into the swamp, then they think it's a hot tub. Here we go. Another post from Trump. My friend, conservative Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick and the Texas Senate passed a strong 287G bill to give local Texas law enforcement full authority to assist the federal government in arresting and detaining criminals who are in our country illegally. The Senate House, the Texas House, needs to pass SB 8 as written. I'm watching closely. It's important to Texas and to our country. So let's keep an eye on that. And people in Texas are going to find out who they're going to be voting for and who they're going to want to get the hell out. Here's where Trump put up it's my great honor to raise the tariffs on steel from 25% to 50%, effective Wednesday, June 4th. Our steel and aluminum industries are coming back like never before. This will be yet another big jolt of great news for our wonderful steel workers, steel and aluminum workers. Make America great again. I thought that was the one where he mentioned cheap Shanghai steel. I don't know. Maybe it's this one. Let me see. Maybe it's this one. Oh, getting rid of another commie. You know, it makes sense if you watch some of Trump's press conferences. He talks about the paintings he put up of Ronald Reagan and other past presidents in the Oval Office. Remember that, folks? He was saying, well, some were down below us. In other words, in a basement. They were stuck around some strange places, I think is the way he put it, or similar language. In other words, the portraits were being treated with disrespect, disregarded, cast away, okay, crammed up in the attic, so to speak. Trump brings them out, has them cleaned up and hung up in the Oval Office. Upon the requests and recommendation of many people, I'm hereby terminating the employment of Kim Sajjet as director of the National Portrait Gallery. She is a highly partisan person and is a strong supporter of DEI, which is totally inappropriate for her position. Her replacement will be named shortly. Thank you for your attention to this matter. You would think somebody, director of the National Portrait Gallery, if they were doing a good job, that would be a pretty safe position. So apparently she was using her power to take swipes, barbs, or show disrespect in some form or another, or to undermine the founders of this nation by abusing or discarding as far as in the eyes of history or tourists to the White House, portraits of our founders and former presidents out of spite. So she can take her spite to the unemployment line and have a good time. Here we go. What is this? Federal Reserve. Remember I said earlier? Office coming out of 1.8% growth hours after that happens, the Federal Reserve now predicts 3.8% GDP growth in Q2. That's a big difference. That's more than double what the partisan and commie CBO was putting out, with the sole intention of driving down confidence and harming Trump. There's no other reason for that. What's this one? Another graph. Oh, I grabbed this on the fly. This popped up. Where is this? Foreigners claim $1 billion a month in benefits. 8 weeks of payments to households with foreign national, enough to wipe out winter fuel cut savings. That must be the UK. It's blurry. I can't. Benefits claimed by households with at least one foreign national have doubled to nearly $1 billion a month in the past 3 years, government figures show. Or is that ours? No, it's got that pounds. I don't know. Where is this? I got that off Citizen Free Press about 15 minutes before I went live. I got that screenshot. Italy. Okay. Television shows. Yeah. Well, somebody's getting screwed. Everybody, really. You know, they got to look at their leaders. If they don't love their country, they shouldn't lead their country. Scott Jennings. Can you go a show without getting at least some kind of snippet from Scott Jennings? Boy, that's some interesting color schemes on that podcast.
Why do you think it is that Democrats have had such a hard time convincing men and young men in particular of their message lately, and conservatives have been much more successful at it through Trump?
It's very simple, because they care more about dudes who want to be women than dudes who just want to be dudes. That is the main reason.
Yeah, kind of hard to argue with that. What is going on with this, folks? Did you all hear about this? Who's that going to shake hands with Volodymyr Zelensky over in Ukraine? Senator Lindsey Graham. And he's got, I forget his name. He's a creepy senator. You'll know him when you see him. He's real, he's creepy. But anyway, what's going on with this? Remember what Trump said about Lindsey Graham. He's there when you need him.
Good to see you. Welcome. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for having us. We're back. No, we're back. Happy to see you. 7-3.
Mr. President, such a
Good to see you.
pleasure.
It's good to come, especially now in such challenging period. Thank you, Chris.
Auntie Lindsay. I'll tell you one thing. He's over there with Trump's permission. Now, that other cadaver that came in with him, I forget his name, but did you see how stiff and creepy and weird that guy acts? But he's a nasty little Democrat, but I don't know. Maybe he's a man on a mission. I don't know. Doing a little white hat op. You know, I said I was going to play a clip from David Hogg. And Project Veritas is still puttering along without James O'Keefe, who has OMG Media, right? Is that what it's called? But anyway, I think that's what it's called. But anyway, this is Project Veritas, and I want to say something about Hogg. Remember I said that people can be an asset, like a C.I.A. asset, and not even know it. And I said, what did I mean by that? One of the examples I gave is when you're a predictable person, when you're hyperbolic and you have talking points or pressure points that if somebody pushes that pressure point, you can predict exactly how they're going to behave. Well, David Hogg may be one of those people. And so if you have a predictable person, you can put them in situations where the behavior they're going to exhibit is going to help you. And they don't even know they're helping you. So that's how you become an asset and don't even know it. The other thing is that we were told, what's a plant? Remember that, folks? What's a plant? P-L-A-N-T. How do you install a plant? Can you use emotion? So, in other words, whether he knows it or not, David Hogg is helping wake people up. He's predictably showing how much he knows about stuff, and he's telling on people. Here he's telling about Nancy Pelosi. I'll go ahead and play this clip for you all to enjoy. I made coffee to help support the channel. And I will be going live probably Sunday night or Monday night. If you're subscribed, hit the notification bell and you'll know when I go live. So I want to thank you all for spending your precious time with me once again. So enjoy this clip about David Hogg, the unwitting plant, the predictable, hyperbolic little person, and I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
I would say Pelosi's actually very good at her job. I don't agree with the stock trading stuff. I mean, she gets better returns than almost every hedge fund in this city. Every year. Some of these members of Congress make trades that are like way too well timed to not have like insider knowledge. They happen to be some of the best financial analysts in human history.
Have you spoken against that?
I've talked to it, but it's also like, I know that if I pick that fight, it's going to be harder for us to get gun control passed, so I have to pick my battle. Like, the hardest part about my job is I just want to burn everything down, because it's all so corrupt. But you got to pick your battles and slowly build your momentum.
Joining us now, DNC Vice Chair David Hogg.
We're not going to go after Pelosi. One, we wouldn't beat her, even if we wanted to. That's part of it. But two, it's an unnecessary fight to pick when there's other members that are far weaker. And I would say Pelosi's actually very good at her job. I don't agree with the stock trading stuff.
You don't?
No. Some of these members of Congress make trades that are like way too well timed to not have like insider knowledge about, and it's a huge problem.
Do you think that's how Pelosi is worth hundreds of millions of dollars?
Yes. I mean, she gets better returns than almost every hedge fund in this city. Every year.
And you don't think that has to change?
No, it does.
How would you change that?
You just ban members of Congress from owning stock.
So
have to put their assets in a blind trust.
You're going to prop up candidates who oppose that? Is that your goal, to prop up candidates?
I mean, in part, yeah.
Yeah, because that's a long haul. There's 435 members.
Yeah.
And most likely 430 of them are doing the same thing, which is why they don't want to. I don't know, but I'm just stating.
I think it's a pretty good guess.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Just conveniently. They happen to be some of the best financial analysts in human history.
Have you spoken against that?
I've talked to that, but it's also like, I know that if I pick that fight, it's going to be harder for us to get gun control passed, so I have to pick my battle. Like, the hardest part about my job is I just want to burn everything down, because it's all so corrupt. But you got to pick your battles and slowly build your momentum.